Hello everybody. Today is Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. You're listening to episode 53 of the Hayden Podcast. I am your host, Hayden Remillard. Thank you for joining me here again on the podcast, almost at 1 year. Next week's show will be a special 1 year anniversary show, and I can't wait to share that with you. However, today on the show, I'm going to be discussing the 2021 NBA All-Star Team. Did the fans get the vote right? Who should have got in? Should they really be playing the game? I will answer all that and more. Let's get into it. Enjoy. On Thursday, February 18th, last Thursday, the NBA announced the 2021 NBA All-Star starters. Let's take a look at the selections that the fans made. It was all fan votes. Let's take a look. In the Eastern Conference, the 5 starters are Kyrie Irving of the Brooklyn Nets, Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards, Kevin Durant of the Brooklyn Nets, Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks, Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. Those are the 5 starters in the East. Let's take a look at the West. In the West, the 5 starters are Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks, Steph Curry from the Golden State Warriors, LeBron James from the Los Angeles Lakers, Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets, Kawhi Leonard of the Los Angeles Clippers. Those are the 5 in the West. So those are your 10 starters for the NBA All-Star Game. I'll start out by saying that I agree for the most part on all of these starters. Let's start out in the West, though. I would have liked to see Damian Lillard in the spot of Luka Doncic. Luka is great, don't get me wrong. And actually, their numbers are very similar so far this season. But I feel like Lillard is making more of an impact on his team. Portland also has a better record, which I believe shows just how much Lillard can really affect the game. I have no problem with Luka being there. He is a really good young star for Dallas. Great player. Taking a look at Steph Curry, this is going to be his 7th NBA All-Star game. And man, does he deserve it this year. He is averaging 30 points per game, 5.3 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game. He is quite literally carrying this Golden State Warriors team. At the time of this recording, which is on Saturday, the Golden State Warriors are sitting at 16-14 and 8th place in the West, so that's the final playoff spot in the West. If they can hold on to that playoff spot, I could honestly see Golden State maybe pulling out an upset in the playoffs. Right now, they would face the Utah Jazz, who, my God, are they having a good season. That's the one more thought I have on the Western Conference overall is the Utah Jazz, they're looking really freaking good. Donovan Mitchell and the whole gang in Utah currently have a 24-6 record. 24 wins, 6 losses. Again, I'm recording this on Saturday. Last night, they lost to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and the Los Angeles Clippers, ending their 9-game win streak. But, my God, are they looking good. I really hope that they continue to play great basketball so they can dominate in the West. I would love to see them in that number 1 seed in the Western Conference, just because I don't think, not that I can recall, anybody thought that was going to be the case. Going into the season, definitely. I know I sure didn't. Everyone, was expecting the Lakers or maybe the Clippers, but I'm not sure anybody was really expecting the Jazz to be as good as they currently are. Let's take a look at the East now. I actually don't mind the starters in the East. Obviously, me as a Raptors fan, I would have liked to see Fred VanVleet in there. I think he deserves to be in there. He has been dominant for the Raptors, not only on offense, but I would say even more so on the defensive side. This Raptors team is really good at defense. The last 2 games, again, recording this Saturday, against Milwaukee. Let's go back to the first game against Milwaukee in that back-to-back series. They shut down Giannis. They shut down Chris Middleton. And a huge part of shutting down Giannis has been since Fred VanVleet got there. Fred VanVleet. He steals the ball, not only against Giannis, against everybody. I think he deserves a spot. Maybe not in the starters. He'll definitely get in as the reserves, I would believe, because he deserves it. Obviously, defense isn't going to get you many votes when the fans are voting because offense is always more exciting than defense. I believe that's kind of why Kyrie got in. I mean, Kyrie's playing great. The whole Nets team's playing great. You could make an argument probably for Harden to get into the starting lineup as well, which is just insane. Nets are the hot ticket item right now, so it makes sense that Kyrie and KD would get on there. And like I said, I think you could make a case for James Harden as well. Second last point, I want to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid is in the starting lineup for the Eastern Conference, and he deserves it 110%. Doc Rivers has really turned this team around. Currently, at the time of this recording, they sit at 20 wins, 10 losses, first in the East, a game and a half back of the Nets. Joel Embiid had a monster game against the Bulls on Friday night. He scored 50 points, grabbed 17 rebounds, was plus 22 in point differential. I'm starting to think, as much as I hate to admit it as a Toronto Raptors fan, I think Joel Embiid would have my vote for MVP. He's playing at a crazy good level. If I were to pick 3 candidates for MVP right now, I think it would have to be between Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and Joel Embiid. This year I haven't watched as much basketball as I would like to watch. I've mostly been watching highlights, been reading box scores, reading articles. I really should get to watching more. But every night it seems Steph Curry's carrying the Warriors. I've watched, I think, 3 or 4 Denver Nugget games, and Jokic is no joke. He is dominant. I believe I was watching a game against the Jazz, actually, and he had a monster first half, continued to have a monster game in the second half. And then you have Joel Embiid, who is the main player on the 76ers, and Doc Rivers has done a terrific job. I believe it was announced that he will coach the Eastern Conference team in the NBA All-Star Game. And he deserves it as well. He's done a great job, terrific job in Philadelphia. Last point that I want to talk about for the NBA All-Star Game is, should they really be playing the game this year due to COVID? This has been a hot topic on both Twitter and all the sports talk shows that I listen to, that I watch. I don't see a problem with it, to be honest. In my personal opinion, I think having the NBA All-Star Game, the three-point contest, and the dunk contest is going to bring a sense of normalcy that we have all been wanting since the start of this pandemic. And I have absolutely no issue with them playing the game, as long as it's done in a safe and healthy way, obviously. The NBA All-Star Game is set to be played on Sunday, March 7th in Atlanta. I'll be watching. I hope you guys are watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on the 2021 NBA All-Star starters and who you think will get in for the reserves. Let me know all that on Twitter at Hayden Podcast. There you have it, my thoughts on the 2021 NBA All-Star starters. Like I said at the end of that, let me know your thoughts at Hayden Podcast on Twitter. I know I said that I was going to try not to talk about sports so much on this podcast, but you know what? My podcast, I can talk about whatever I want, and sports is what I love to talk about, so it's going to be very sports heavy. Still want to get more guests on. I just have to work a few things out. Got to figure out who I want to get on here and have some great conversations with them. Next week is the 1-year anniversary show. I can't believe I've actually been able to keep this up for a year. 1 show every week. We did 1 week with 2 shows. Thank you guys for the support. I won't get too much into it this week because I imagine I'll get all emotional about it next week. 1 year is a long time to be doing this, and you guys have supported me throughout all of it, and I really appreciate it. Hopefully we have many more years, many more listeners to come, many more great podcast episodes. If you guys like the show, be sure to head to anchor.fm/HaydenR. That's anchor.fm/HaydenR. And there you can find links to all of your favorite podcasting apps. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you like to listen. You'll also find the links to all of our social media channels there: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Be sure to follow and you'll be updated whenever there's a new episode. Thank you guys as always for listening, and we'll be back next week right here on the Hayden Podcast for another new episode. 1 year anniversary. See you then.